Hello guys, welcome to Real Reds Talk. It is match day. It's Manchester United versus Leicester again, but this time in the Premier League. Is it the same team as the Carabao Cup? No, it's not. It's a completely different, well, not completely different, just maybe one tweak, I think, or maybe a couple. But the main news is Amad Diallo starts and Alejandro Garnacho has been dropped. But I'll go through the full team. Welcome, Shreyas. I'll introduce you very, very shortly, properly. But we've got... Let's just switch screens. This is the team that we've got lining up. Onana in net. Mazraoui probably at left back, I'm guessing, because he's been there more recently. Dalot at right back. Martinez and De Ligt as your centre-back pairing. The midfield that's played a good few games together now in Ugarte, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. And then Amad, Højlund and Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side. That is the team official team news. Amad, the standout here, Shreyas. Is that the correct decision for you?
Yeah, I think he deserved. He after the last performance against in the Europa League, I think it was well deserved that he got the start. He looked quite sharp. He looked very bright, and we needed that sort of element from a winger that Ahmad actually brings. So it's good to see Ahmad getting his first start in in quite some time, and I think it's the right call to actually drop Garnacho at this moment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's playing terribly bad. He still is able to create an impact. He's still able to influence the game a lot. It's just he's still young. He's still maturing in his game, so it's going to take him some time to reach that product, which we hope that he can reach someday. But you have to balance the game time out as well. And at the moment, I would say Rashford and as well as Ahmad, they are performing at a better rate in
Yeah.
comparison to how Garnacho has been performing.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. For anyone who's asking about the subs bench, it's Bayern, Heaton, Evans, Lindelof, and then Ericsson, Mount, Anthony, Garnacho, and Xerxes. So a couple of options there you can bring on potentially to affect the game. You touched on the manager making changes there. The manager himself, obviously, is the interim at the moment, Treyas, and this is his last game in charge today. What have you made of him in charge? I know you spoke on that there's not been kind of too many significant differences, but there has been a slight uplift in the mood and in the players' kind of attitude and stuff, as you'd expect with an interim.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's, I would say, a bit of positivity around the club at the moment with Ruud in charge. The football, I would still say, it is very similar to how we've been playing through the course of this season itself. There's not been as much of a change, but at least the players look a bit more happier on the pitch. The players look a bit more involved. The players look a bit more active on the pitch. So that's a positive sign. And given the fact that he's won a few games now, he's not lost yet. During his interim
Hmm.
period, so it creates a good environment for Amorim whenever he comes in. And if we are able to get 3 points against Leicester today, would do us a lot of favors when it comes to climbing the ranks in the Premier League, because I think the positions from third to 10th are just separated by 3 points. So if we can I would even say that if we get like 3 wins in a row together, we get 9 points. We might climb up the ranks very
Mm.
fast. So it is a very important game for us, and I hope that Root can being his last game in charge. I hope he goes out on a good note.
Absolutely. He'll get a warm reception at Old Trafford
Yeah.
today, and obviously anyone who's watching the game will feel the exact same way. He's done it in a respectable fashion. He's been very honest, very open. I think he's come across really, really well in some of his press conferences, the way he's been talking. He seems to have that a bit more character, doesn't he? That kind of charisma is the word that I'm looking for. He seems to come across much better than Eric Ten Hag did. I always felt like Eric Ten Hag was like a disciplinarian teacher kind of style. That's what I got across from him, and it's hard in this modern kind of era. Maybe it would have been all right in the 90s, I don't know, or the early 2000s, but I just feel like this modern kind of era, you need a blend of both, and I think Ruud Van Nistelrooy certainly brought that. Obviously, we've got this transitional period now, haven't we, where it's like, you've got the 4 games between what's been a nightmare, effectively, since the start of the season, after that West Ham loss. But you can argue he's left it in a decent place for him. I know that some of the games have been relatively easy on paper, but if Ten Hag would have been in charge, do you think maybe we would have lost some of them games? You look at the Chelsea one, for example. So does Ruud deserve credit in that sense?
Anything could have happened in these games. I mean, Ten Hag even had, I wouldn't say that every single game that Ten Hag had during the start of the season has been tough. West Ham was a relatively easy fixture. Twente was a relatively easy fixture. Porto, the kind of condition they are in, was also a very decent fixture for
Yeah.
him. So with Ten Hag going into any game, you couldn't go into any game with a certainty that United is going to come out with a win, no matter who the opposition is. So with Ruud being able to pull out the results, I'm not going to comment on how we played the games. To me, what mattered during this period was that we are able to pull some results and get some points on the board, both in the Europa League as well as the Premier League. Until now, he's been doing a good job, considering the kind of position that this team was in,
Hmm.
and I would say the kind of atmosphere that we went into the Chelsea game with. People expected Chelsea to that it would be a repeat of the Tottenham game, but even worse. And a lot of people thought we'd lose 4-0 or 5-0 very easily in that game, but we
Hmm.
were able to come out with a 1-1 draw. Possibly could have gotten a win in that game as well if things would have just gone in our way a little bit. But it has been good under Root when you have to look at it from a results perspective. And I think when you look at it from the player side as well, it does create a bit of a good, I would say, morale in the team, because it's been a while that we've gone on an unbeaten streak of even 2 to 3 games. Under Ten Hag, it used to be we win a game, we draw a game, and then we lose. So there wasn't any consistency, there wasn't any momentum flowing in from one game to another. Under Root, we can at least see some energy actually going into from one game to another. You can see players actually building up performances. Casemiro has looked much better. Bruno has looked a bit better than what how he looked under Ten Hag. You could say the same for I would even say Hoyland. If you take out the last game and you look at the other games that Hoyland has had, he's looked a lot better as well. So the players do look a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just nice, isn't it? It's a bit of a release from the shit that we've had at the start of the
Yeah,
season. We've got loads of other people joining us. We've got Josh in the chat. We've got Stephanie Griffith. We've got random guys just straight away with a super chat saying finally done with this term's finals. I hope you've done well. All the best to you, random guy. You're an absolute legend. You know we love you here on Real Reds Talk. We've got Ricardo Diaz saying hi, Red Sporting Green here. 2 left foots in 11. Ruben Amorim uses 5 and 6. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but obviously welcome here and thank you for the I would say thank you for your manager then, but that sounds like a bit of a dig, doesn't it? We are going to talk about Ruud and Amorim. It's like a blend of Ruud Van Nistelrooy and Ruben Amorim. We are going to talk about Ruben Amorim. You know, what happens with Ruud in your mind? Do you think does he end up going? If you're Amorim and you want to bring in, I think he's bringing like 5 coaches. Do you keep him on because he's a legend, or how does that dynamic work?
I think that is in complete discretion of the new manager that's going to be coming in.
Mm.
If he wants Root around in a certain capacity around the players, I think even if he's not kept in a coaching capacity at the club, maybe he a different role is provided to Root. And I think there were conversations that a job profile similar to what Darren Fletcher is doing at the club could be provided to Root in the case of Amorim not wanting him to be part of one of the coaching staff. So I think they are going to have a conversation, Amorim and Root, as to how they want to proceed with this. Because I would say this, I'm not going to say if Amorim doesn't want Ruud Van Nistelrooy around, I'm not going to attack the manager on it, because
Hmm.
I think every manager coming into the club, especially a club like Manchester United, would want his guys to be around, especially the kind of the guys that he has been working with over the course of the past few seasons, and it creates a bit more comfort for a new manager who is coming into a club to be surrounded with the guys that he has been working with for quite some time. So I think it is completely under Ruben Amorim's discretion whether he wants to keep Ruud, whether he wants him to go. If he keeps him, it is once again it is still a good call, because he's been at the club. He knows how the club works. He knows what the fans expect from the club as well, and he has a good, I would say, reputation with the players side as well. The players seem very comfortable having Ruud Van Nistelrooy around the club. So it is completely under the hands of Ruben Amorim. Even if he doesn't want him, I'm sure that the guys that he's going to be bringing in will be able to do a good job.
I'm just trying to figure out in what capacity is his experience and knowledge, like where's that going to come in terms of the coaching setup. Like obviously I'm sure we'll have a conversation. You're seeing the Lions coming out saying it's going to be crunch talks and they're going to
Yeah,
do all
yeah,
the
yeah,
the shit you usually see.
yeah.
um I don't know. I like him. Obviously, well, I love Ruud for what he's done for the club in terms of a player, and since he's come in, and he obviously wants the best for Manchester United, and he believes in us. But I just think if a coach wants to come in and he has a certain method and a certain way, you don't keep people there just for the sake of it. So if he keeps him on and it's in a working capacity and he can be a part and he can contribute, then I'm all right with it. I'm sure most United
Yeah.
fans and players likewise will be, because he could kind of be that connector then between the coaches and stuff. But we'll see what happens with that. Bringing it back to the game slightly, Shreyas, if we win today, we go 15 points level with Bournemouth and Newcastle, but Newcastle play today as well against Nottingham Forest away. So you'll probably be level with them if results are anything to go by. But in a more respectable fashion, 3 points behind Aston Villa, we need to start going on a run now, don't we? With the upcoming games that we've got, it's a really good chance to start climbing up the table.
Yeah, before we get those games against City and Arsenal, we need to notch up as many points as we possibly can. And like you mentioned, if we win today, we go just 3 points away from Aston Villa, who I would say people have been saying are having a very decent season
Yeah.
up until now.
Yeah.
So look, I think just 3 wins or 2 wins and the whole table will completely change. And like you mentioned, Newcastle play Nottingham Forest today. So we are going to see a lot of fluctuations in the top half of this table. And
Yeah.
I think it is only after Christmas that we'll be able to, we'll actually be able to see a solid top six, and then interchanging in between the top six. But it will take some time because Nottingham have notched up a lot of points. Bournemouth have notched a lot of points as well. I'll say the same for Brentford. Newcastle are around Brighton, have been able to get some points on the table as well. They are fifth or fourth. So there is going to be a lot of competition. So the sooner we are able to, get on a run, the sooner we are able to accumulate some points, the better for us.
Yeah, you got Chelsea playing Arsenal today as well, aren't you, with the 4:30 kickoff, which is going to be interesting. So, again, one of those can drop points, and then you end up 4 points behind Arsenal, something ridiculous. I mean, the top of the Premier League table at the moment really is mad, isn't it? You watch City again lose yesterday, and you're like, what on earth is going on?
Four games in a row they've lost.
Listen to this. This is one of the maddest things ever. I've only just realised. If Forest beat Newcastle today, they go 1 point behind City. 1 point behind City. That is after like a third of the season almost played, or let's say a quarter of the season more like. That is crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. You got Brighton on 19 points, who've overtaken Chelsea. You got Chelsea 5th, Arsenal 6th, Villa 8th, Tottenham 9th, United 13th, Newcastle 12th. Like, this really is a very sporadic table. It's all over the gaff. I don't know what's going on here, but Stephanie
you cannot
Griffith.
put a finger down on any fixture this season.
No, that's
any
what I mean.
fixture
Impossible, isn't it? I was saying this to my mate last night because he was putting a bet on for the games yesterday, and he was like, I don't know who to go for. And when we did the Premier predictions as well, we did Premier League predictions, and we're going through and we're like, I actually don't know, because like you've seen like Forest beat Liverpool. You've seen City lose to Bournemouth. You've seen Arsenal lose games that they wouldn't usually. So it feels like a free for all at the minute, and I don't mind it. I don't mind. Obviously, for us, it's not great because we're currently 40, but we've just been shit in general. I think the other team is becoming very competitive, and you look at
other teams are inconsistent. We have a lot of other problems. The problem with other teams, I would say, is Villa are a much better team than us. They are inconsistent. Arsenal are a much better team than us. They are very inconsistent this season as well. You look at the team at the bottom of the table right now. No one expected Wolves to do as bad as they have done. No one expected Palace to be in the position that they are in right now as well. So it's just been a mad season, and you genuinely cannot put your finger down and say which team is going to be finishing in the top four, because I would genuinely say it might go down to the wire this season as to who ends up in the top four.
Yeah. I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts, by the way. So get involved in that. Who you think top four, relegation, where United might finish. I think that's interesting. Of course, we've got to focus on Leicester today, but I mean, you've got to start winning against these kind of teams, haven't you, if you want to progress in the table. Steph's saying looking more stable with Casemiro and Ugarte as a double pivot. I agree.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, we spoke about it a couple of times, but them two being in that midfield really unlocked Bruno, done it, Shreyas?
Yeah. I'm finally actually seeing Bruno being around the box a lot, because earlier on I used to see him on covering the right back, covering the left back, covering the halfway line of the ground, and trying to actually make things happen from that halfway line, which doesn't really work. It's a 50-50 shot when you're trying to, play a through ball from that halfway line. Now that he's in and around the box, now that he's able to actually play those short flicks into Højlund, those small passes to Garnacho, he's proving a lot more effective than how he usually was. And having the cover of someone like Ugarte behind and Casemiro behind creates much more balance in the midfield, because I would say the role, I was saying Casemiro's role this season is much different than what it usually used to be. And he's proving his worth in this new role. He's able to take care of possession. He's able to launch some very, very good balls into the final third. And he, whenever he's around the box, he's got a very good shot on him. So he's getting in the goals and assists marks a lot. And he's very effective. And Ugarte, with the kind of legwork that he can do, with the kind of work rate he has, even if we are being hit on the counter, you've got one figure who can actually provide that shield to Delict as well as
Yeah.
Lissandro or Evans or Lindelof. So they both of them, they work quite well as a pair.
Mm. You got a bit of a South American duel in there today, aren't you? Ugarte
Yeah,
versus Buonanotte. Obviously took Casemiro in there as well because he's Brazilian. But Buonanotte has been one of Leicester's kind of better players. Do you trust Ugarte to kind of do that role? Because defensively, he seems okay in terms of putting fires out. But the one question I put on Ugarte is he's not good enough on the ball for me yet.
yeah, that's not his. And that's before he signed as well. I said that's not his role.
Yeah, yeah,
If you think that he's going to prove like a connector between
yeah.
the attackers and the midfield, he's not that job.
He's not a Zubimendi, is he? He's
No,
nowhere
no,
near
no,
that.
no, absolutely not. He's someone who he's going to make as many ball recoveries as you want. He's going
Yeah.
to put tackles in. He's going to win duels. He's going to be a physical figure. He's not going to lose out on physical duels,
Yeah.
never, or even aerial duels. I would say the only I would say area where he lacks a bit is when he has to play those intricate passes to break through the lines.
Mm.
And I think that's where Casemiro actually comes in, because the vision that Casemiro has while he plays those passes is much better
Yeah.
in comparison to what Ugarte has. Maybe Ugarte develops it through the years. He's still very, very young. So
Yep.
there's still a lot of scope in his game to actually improve. And having someone, that's why I say having Casemiro around is very, very important for these youngsters, because I would say the same for Menu, Collier, Ugarte. They've got the perfect mentor and the perfect figure in Casemiro to actually learn off from, because Casemiro provides you the best of both worlds as a six, even as an eight. So if
Mhm.
they can find out the balance and actually learn things off him, it's a good mark for us for the future.
Yeah, James McGoggan's just touched on that. Said that first time pass around the corner of Casemiro has been quite productive recently. I'm a bit, and you can tell the players are expecting it in it every time he gets it first time. That Rasmus is looking, Bruno's looking. I think Bruno missed a massive header, didn't he, when Casemiro did
Yeah,
it? It was against
yeah.
now. Was it West
Uh,
Ham? Maybe Villa or
I think
something. I'm not
one of those
sure.
games, West Ham or probably maybe even Chelsea.
Yeah, it was
Might
one of
be
the one of
Chelsea.
them. Yeah, like he literally got in behind, perfect timed run, and the header just they
Bruno
missed it.
sucks
But
at headers.
yeah, he's not the best. He's not the best. I think we suck at scoring in general. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
how do we saw the short term pain of not scoring? Because how can you in reality? Because you've got to deal with the pool of players that you've got. Right? Who should be the guy who's scoring all our goals at the minute? Do you think?
It's either got to be Bruno or Rashford, one of these two, at the moment as a short term plan. Long term, I would say Hoyland, because I think once people actually start finding Hoyland when he is on those runs, he can prove much more deadlier. When people don't expect Hoyland to play like that hold up striker for the entire game and actually allow him to play with more freedom and actually start finding
Mm,
him when he's making those runs, I think that's when you'll see the best of Hoyland. But until then, it's either got to be Bruno or Rashford, because if you look at this entire team, Bruno and Rashford are the only ones who have actually scored a lot of goals for this team during rough patches.
hmm
Rashford seems to bag whenever we are having a rough patch. Bruno, once again, he's getting better. It's a slow pace that he's getting better at, but once he's able to find his feet, once he's able to find his true form, we are going to see a lot more creativity. We are going to see a lot more output from Bruno Fernandes, and hopefully it happens today,
Yeah.
whether it's Marcus Rashford, whether it's Bruno, because Rashford as well. I've seen it throughout the course of a season. When Rashford scores a goal within the first half of the game, you can see him electric for the entire game. It happened against Southampton as well. He got the goal in the first half. You could see a completely changed Rashford for the entire game. So if it happens the same way today, Leicester will have a lot of trouble if Rashford is able to actually get some confidence in and make those runs in behind the defenders.
Yeah, it's something we're not really touched on. You got Rashford on his favoured side again now, haven't you? Obviously, he's been
Yeah,
playing on the right to kind of facilitate for Garnacho. Garnacho, for the past couple of games, he has been winding me up with the
yeah,
stuff that he's doing, how greedy he can be at times, how much he snatches at shots. He just puts the blinkers on sometimes, that was a lot of the criticism with Rashford. He would just kind of isolate himself and just run and it would frustrate the life out of you. So I
Yeah.
don't mind that change today. I think Ahmad should have came in, especially performance against Pauk. I know it's only Pauk,
Yeah.
but the 2 goals were like really good in
He was the
fairness.
difference. He was
Yeah.
genuinely the difference in that game.
And he brings that balance. I think the reason why Eric Ten Hag played Garnacho and Rashford so much is because he just always described it as a transitional, proactive attacking team. And having wingers like that who are very quick and very direct, they give you those kind of principles, core principles. But the issue is sometimes when you want to retain the ball or if you're looking for combinations, they're not great at that. They're never been great at that.
Yeah.
Ahmad brings that. You play it into it. He holds onto it so well. He's actually quite strong for his size as well. He can hold defenders off. He can link play. He's got a good relationship with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. And I always say when you watch teams, whether it's Man City and Arsenal, whoever it is, I know they're in a bad run of form, or even Chelsea, let's just say, you have triangles on the pitch. Throw Liverpool in there as well. Because I was watching them yesterday, where you had, I think it was Curtis Jones, Mo Salah, and Trent, and they work together as a functioning, well-cogged unit where it's a triangle. Same thing with Cole Palmer, Madueke, and Gusto, let's say, whoever it is. We don't have partnerships because there's always so much inconsistency in the team. And I remember you even talking about Mazraoui and Ahmad together as well in terms of a partnership. You need those, innit? Because the more you develop that, the more chemistry you have, the better the patterns are, and the more you can kill teams off.
Yeah. And that's when actually, even the players expect that where his partner is going to be at that point, where he needs to play that early ball into. And this is one of the reasons why we struggle a lot is because our attacking line doesn't have that chemistry at the moment.
No.
Even when it's Rashford, Garnacho, and Højlund, you can see how disconnected Højlund is with the attack, which is not really on him because throughout the 90, I see Højlund working a lot. I see Højlund making a lot of runs, and if he makes 10 runs into the box, he only gets found out like twice. And even on those 2 occasions, he's not able to get the ball. It gets intercepted or he's never played in. So it's not really on him. The best chances of our games fall to our wingers. And that's why Garnacho irritates me a lot because you can see that, the quality is there. I still remember that snapshot that he made against Chelsea where he took it on the half volley and just missed the goal by a whisker. But it is much, much easier to just play Xerxes or play Mazraoui, who were standing right there on the byline to actually go for a shot. So they need to develop some kind of stability. They need to actually, be on the same page when they're attacking the final third because quality wise Rashford is quality in the box. If you put him in the right area, you give him the ball in the right area, he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Same with Højlund, and I would even say with Ahmad when he's around the box, he's very tricky to handle for any defender because he's not someone who just goes for a shot. He takes the ball out wide sometimes, he tries to go in for a pass. So if we can actually get some balance in and we can get some consistency into the I would say in the front line, would be much easier for us to actually score some goals.
Yeah, there was a period with Rashford, wasn't there? I want to say near the Brentford game, maybe a little bit before that, with Southampton as well, where he was actually being a bit of a playmaker. And I really like the performance, like putting crosses in, little balls in behind, which is capable. He doesn't do it enough. Now, I don't know if that's more on him or more on the players' movement around him, but I know he can definitely do it. And I want to see him do it more. Those cross-field passes as well, where he kind of chops it back and then he'll play like a curved kind of through ball. I want to see more of those kind of things. And hopefully we'll see that for Rasmus and hopefully Ahmad can provide that as well. Because I do feel like we need to score more goals. We're nowhere near it at the minute. I don't know how many we've scored in total in the league, but it's not many, is it, at all? So
I don't think it's double digits.
No, it's not. Whereas in other competitions, obviously we scored 5 against Leicester in the last game against them. I know it was a heavily rotated 7 against Barnsley. They can score goals, but when it's a slightly tougher opposition, that is when we struggle. So, I've got the Leicester lineup here, or I did have the Leicester lineup. Let's just go through their team because we could talk about us and how effective we can be and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, we don't know who Leicester are starting with, so it's difficult to think. Hermansen, Justin, Vestergaard, Faze, Christiansen, Winks, Sumare, and Didi. Sumare starting for the first time. It seems injured. And then you got Fatawu, Buonanotte, and AU. No Jamie Vardy starting, not even in the team again, which is, I mean, he must be injured. He must have been out for a while. But yeah, Jamie Vardy, Pereira step out. So yeah, and that's one thing not to worry about, I suppose. I just had a vision of Vardy just doing some, you know what he's like, innit? He's just being a bit of a shit house and celebrating. I've just seen someone's selfie on Twitter with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It looks like the most uncomfortable man. Let me show you this. Let me put it on the screen. This looks like someone's granddad who doesn't even know he's taking the picture. Poor Sir Jim. Let me get this up. 2 seconds. It's not very relevant to the conversation, but I just think it's funny. Feast your eyes on this, people. Mr. Jim with a supporter outside Old Trafford. He looks so uncomfortable, doesn't he? I don't know if you can see it on your screen yet, Shreyas.
Yeah, I can see it now, yeah.
It just looks really awkward, doesn't it? It looks like, oh, I don't really want to be here, to be honest, mate. Like, bless him. Bless him. But nice to see him in attendance, I suppose, for the game. Right, a couple of stats for you. So, Manchester United have lost just 2 of their last 17 Premier League games against Leicester. They've won 10 and drew 5, with those defeats coming consecutively in May and October 2021. United have lost... sorry, I've already said that. United have scored in each of their last 28 Premier League games against Leicester since a 1-0 loss in January 98. In their top flight history, only Arsenal have they ever had a longer scoring streak against. United have won 16 of the last 18 Premier League games against promoted sides, and United's 12 points this season is their lowest return after 10 top flight games in a season since 1986, and their 9 goals scored is their lowest at this stage since 1973-74. Should we deserve, with it being Ruud's last game, Shreyas, we deserve a bit of a barn burner here, don't we? A bit of like a 4-1 or a 5-1.
Yeah, I was going to say that take the cup competitions aside, we need to see like a 3-0, 4-0 win in the Premier League, especially against a team like Leicester. And it's been a minute that we've actually seen that happen. So if it's Ruud's last game, probably the best manager to have that sort of a game. Just go out there and express yourself and get exactly. So and like I think the last game that we had against Leicester, I still remember it. Rashford was playing up top. We had Bruno on the right wing, and Bruno was just playing those balls over the top, and Rashford was getting in behind and dropped every single defender. So maybe we see that happening today as well.
Didn't Sancho play as a 10 against Leicester as well?
Yeah, Sancho came on and played as a 10. Yeah,
I remember that. And we all thought, oh, Ten Hag's a genius, what's going on here? And then never ever saw it again. And we was like, okay, fair enough. But on Leicester, obviously we know Mr. Sneeze Cooper, the allergy man, is in charge of them. Usually plays a 4-2-3-1. They've won 1 in their last 5. They've scored in every game so far. Obviously you got Jamie Vardy, who's an icon of the Premier League for what he's done. Not available today, but they've got weapons, and away from home they're going to play on the counter attack. Very brave on the ball, and the flexible as well. They're going to do at Old Trafford what a lot of teams near the bottom of the table do. Do you fancy them to stay up, Leicester?
They might, because one thing about Leicester is when in the dying moments of the game, they still somehow snatch a draw every single game. I've seen them, and I think in comparison to Leicester, there are teams that are performing very badly. Wolves are performing very badly this season. Palace are not able to actually get out of their rut as well. You can look at the likes of Ipswich as well, who have been struggling. They start games off bright, but results don't really go their way when the game actually ends. So there is a lot of competition if you look in that direction. So once again, I think anything can happen, because one team I'm sure that will go down is Southampton. Other than that, it is still a tough fight.
I've got a question for you. Just sprung to my mind now. If you could take any players from Leicester's title-winning team and put them in our current squad right now, who would you take?
N'Golo Kante.
Oh yeah, he'd be the first one, wouldn't he? Definitely.
Riyad Mahrez would be. I would be happy to have him as a winger. Someone who can actually be creative and actually make the right decisions in the box. Apart from that, from that season, Jamie Vardy wouldn't sound that bad to have as a number 9.
I agree. Yeah.
But I think apart from that, we've got most of the areas covered.
Yeah, I'd say so. Kante was like, as soon as I thought of that, then I thought, yeah, N'Golo Kante right now would be unbelievable. Because the thing is that you got with Kante as well is, I know he was like renowned for being an absolute tenacious ball winner, and he would cover like twice as much ground as others, but he was actually like really good on the ball and the ball carrier.
Yeah, he was.
Almost more of an 8 than he was an actual like protective 6. So I think he's someone, a prime N'Golo Kante. I still can't believe, by the way, that is it Chelsea who got him for 30 million quid?
Yeah.
30 million pound. And you look at his performances in the Champions League, back like semi-finals and final. unbelievable player. Even the Euros, he was all right, wasn't he?
Yeah,
For France.
he's
Still
still
like,
he's still a very decent player. He's still a very,
yeah.
very, very decent player.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. But of course, no N'Golo Kante or Danny Drinkwater or anything like that for them today.
Yeah.
They've got a hugely kind of different squad, bar Jamie Vardy. The manager, Shreyas, what do you think of him? Do you think he did an all right job with Forest, which is a surprise when he sacked? Is he a championship level kind of manager for you personally?
I just don't like him. Like, to be very honest.
Fair enough. Hell. Sorry,
Like,
Steez. Okay, no.
yeah, I mean, there are certain players or managers that you just look at and don't like. So he's probably is someone who falls for me in that category.
Mm. Fair enough. I mean, if you must be a bit of a dick. If Shreya doesn't like you, Shreya is like one of the most lovely people I've met. If you don't, you must have something wrong with you. So, Sneeze Cooper, bit of a dickhead apparently. Right, back to the comments. Scroll up a little bit. Did any fans stop Ratcliffe in the car park and tell him how we can make money and be richer? Okay, but Wurs will come into OT. Palace will go down. That's from Boxing. Glasner, honeymoon is over. It certainly is. They are struggling at the moment, aren't they? Crystal Palace. Danny Drinkwater, a lot of people are saying in midfield. I rated the squad that got relegated: Madison, Barnes, Tillemans, Castagna.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've seen them all at different teams now, aren't you? In fairness, and as Manu Tata's just put Steve Cooper over Eric Ten Hag. I think some people have been drinking this morning, but that's absolutely fine. No worries about that. I mean, to be fair, they've probably got a similar win rate this season, haven't they? Considering how we've been going. So, I'm looking forward to this game, man. I'm just waiting for some manager quotes to come in. So if anyone has anything they want to cover that I've not covered so far, I'm happy to go through it. But yeah, I'm just excited. I want to give Ruud a nice send off. To be fair, I was looking at getting tickets for this to go over to Old Trafford because I didn't want to be there because I don't know if he's going to be a part of the coaching staff like we touched on before. So I want to give him a bit of a farewell. So a bit gutted I couldn't get a ticket for it, but sets it up for an interesting game. What do you think? Not scoreline wise, we won't go with score predictions just yet. We'll get into it shortly. But how do you see the game playing out, and what are some key things maybe to look out for?
Key things to look out for. I think Dallo is going to be up against Buonete. So that's going to be a very tricky battle because he's being played off from the left-hand side in this game. So that will be a tough battle. If he finds some joy against Dallo, it will be very tricky for us to actually lock him down. But apart from that, I think if we are just able to, if our passing is on point and we are able to handle the ball well in the final third, I think we are a much better team in comparison to what Leicester are pulling out. They've got some injuries, and I think not having Jamie Vardy is a big blow for them. So I expect us to have a much more comfortable game.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I find it hard to say that. I always feel like I'm throwing myself in a commitment there and being like and putting trust in this team again, and then watching them and going, "All right,
they surprise you every time."
That's what I mean. So I could well see a 1-1 draw today. Us going up.
Yeah.
Us going up 1-0 and then those bringing it back.
Could even be a 0-0. You never know. Could just be a 0-0 game.
That's not the prediction I'm going to make, but I could definitely see that happening. Like we said, we've got other games ongoing today. If we look at the Premier League table, currently 13th, we're on 12 points. When you're looking near the top of that table, let's just go into that for 5 minutes if we can. Who are favourites for you now to finish in like the top 4, top 5, whatever you want to call it?
I think City will be there for sure because
do you think they'll even bounce back? The usual December.
They do it every season. They do it every season. After Christmas time, Pep, I think slips something into the players' drinks and they just turn up every single week. And
but to lose
De Bruyne
4
is going
in a row.
Yeah.
It's mad,
but look, De Bruyne is going to turn up at some point, and when he does, he's going to put everything on a platter for Erling Haaland. So I know. I don't know how much of a gap Liverpool can create with them, but I still expect them to just run away with the title by the time it ends. So City will be there. Liverpool will be there. They're doing incredibly well this season. They were much more balanced, I would say, in comparison to last season as well during games. And they're able to control the game a lot better. They don't let leads get away from them. So Liverpool will be there. City will be there. Apart from that, it could be anyone's game because Arsenal are struggling a lot. They're genuinely struggling a lot.
You ready?
Yeah.
From 13th, if we win, from 13th to 3rd, there's 4 points.
4 points, yeah.
Crazy.
So genuinely saying, if Amorim comes in, and he is able to get things right, and he's able to get the best out of even a couple of youngsters in the attack, we can genuinely be right up there with just 2 to 3 wins. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Arsenal might actually get there. I think Chelsea right now are having a much better run of form. So Chelsea might be able to make it into the top four. Apart from that, I would generally say it is anyone's game. We
Mm.
might see someone completely out of the blue coming in there. Maybe Brighton end up there. Forest are on an incredible run. Maybe we see something completely out of the blue happening there as well. But Villa are still going to be Villa are going to be a problem as well.
Yeah.
Villa, whenever they pick up form, they have the players and the quality to make it into the top four. So it's genuinely anyone's game.
Do you know what kills me the most? As much as I'm enjoying City's downfall, I'm watching Liverpool and how well they're performing, and I'm like, wow. Like
That game
I'm
against Leverkusen they had in the Champions League,
smoked him.
they played them off the park, off the park.
Absolutely smoked him. And
Yeah,
then even the game yesterday, like I think actually Emery didn't really get anything tactically wrong. There was a couple of tweaks at half time. They came out. He was better the second half. He was playing really well on the counter attack, playing through the lines. He was organised. He did everything. But Liverpool, the options they've got in attack. We talk about the lack of goals that we're scoring. Look at Salah doing what he's usually doing. He's been on
Salah's
fire.
already got 10 goals and 10 assists already.
Crazy. Yeah, and then Diaz is flying. Nunes scored yesterday. He could have had a hat trick.
Gakpo is there as well.
Gakpo's in form. Like
When Jota comes back from his injury, he's going to be another trouble as well.
Yeah, and then the midfield's clicking really well. McAllister. They've got options in there. Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. It kills me to see it, man, because the way they're performing, like he's come in and everyone kind of expected a real fall off, and it's been the total opposite. Like they've
it's been better.
Yeah,
it's been
they're
better.
more cautious in their approach. They know when to slow games down. They did it in the second half yesterday, but they've still got that killer instinct on the counter attack.
Yeah,
I hate it because they're actually really good to watch, and we've still got to play them. I think start of January, so start of the new year
at Anfield.
So we've still got that game to come. But Ruben will be in charge. Then he would have had a month of some games and stuff. So yeah, I think they're the ones in a minute to win it. 5 points ahead of Man City by November. Yeah, if they keep it up, I don't know. Do you feel like they might still have a bit of a dip, or do you just think they'll plain sailing for the rest of the season?
I think they'll still be able. I think they'll have a very good season. The way that they're going, Gravenberch has been sensational for them in midfield.
Yeah.
And I would say the same for McAllister as well. Both of them in that double pivot, they're absolutely amazing. They balance each other out. They complement each other very, very well.
Yeah.
And apart from that as well, defense-wise as well, Trent is always a problem. Van Dijk is always a problem. They've got Konate. They've got some very decent options in that entire squad, I would say. Cody Gakpo is someone who comes in and just, scores for fun as well off the bench. So I think they'll have a decent season, but once again, for me, City are going to win it one way or another. I'm sure that they'll get someone in January as well because they got Rodri out. So I'm sure. Yeah,
Go get
you'll
the
never
player
know.
at
Maybe it's
Liverpool.
Zubimendi. Yeah, and Pep. It's never a problem for Pep to spend 100 or 150 million on a player. So if he wants Zubimendi, he's going to get Zubimendi. If he wants a certain player, he is going to get that player in. And I think once they get that CDM in, and I know Rodri is a very, very big loss for them because you can just see the difference when Rodri is in that Man City team and when he isn't. But I'm sure that they'll get someone in, and apart from that, they know how to chase these titles down. They've done it with Arsenal. They've done it with Liverpool on a couple of occasions as well when Liverpool have had quite a point gap with them. But they know how to actually chase those gaps down.
I'm going to go back to the comments before I go forward. Please do hit that subscribe button. We're literally 7 subs off 7,400. So if there is anyone new who's watching right now, it takes 2 seconds, bottom right hand corner. If you could be so kind and leave a like on the video for us, whether you're joining, leaving, whatever it is you're doing. RVN walking on Eric Ten Hag's footsteps except midfield. Steph has gone early with her score prediction saying 3-0 United, Rasmus, Ahmad and Bruno. Box saying I think 1-0 Hoyland. Need to outfox the foxes to room for chickens. Alex saying we might get off the hook for a horrid start. Yeah, it's a great point. We just might do that. I'm lucky to be fair because I would say this has probably been the wildest start to a Prem so far with the
It has.
teams. It just looks like someone's got the table and just shook it like a snow globe or something, and it's just, you know what I mean? And this is
I
what
would
we've ended up
genuinely
with.
say if this was Arsenal's team from last season, they would have been top of the
I
table
think
with a
so.
big gap.
Yeah, I really think they miss like Ødegaard, the creativity that he brings into that team. They look so flat, and I think he's back today, and I think also Declan Rice is back for that Arsenal for the Chelsea game. So I think that makes it really
Yeah.
really interesting. But either way, likewise again, you've got either Forest or Newcastle who are going to drop points. You've got Chelsea and Arsenal who are going to drop points. I'm pretty sure Tottenham will probably plaster Ipswich at home with their performance against Aston Villa.
You never know.
But then again, yeah,
Tottenham, you never know.
They got beat by Palace, didn't they, Spurs? So you just
Yeah.
you want to.
And then they ended up beating Villa 4-1.
Exactly. And then you got
You
Villa
never
who
know
dropped
what-
points last night as well. So a lot of teams, if you go and win there, that's what I mean. You create that gap. But the issue is with United, it's so hard to trust them. You don't know if they can do it. We could just end up getting a draw, and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough. But look, if Ruud does win today and we have a good performance, I'll be buzzing for him. So with that being said, Mr. Singh, let's dive into score predictions, something you may see happening in the game, and also just a touch that we've not touched on, Bruno Fernandes with his 250th appearance today as well. So go on.
Well, I think we'll get away with a win. I think we'll once again concede. I don't see it being a clean sheet because I'm sure we'll concede off once again a stupid goal where it is just going to fall in between and no one's just going to cover for it and it's going to end up in the back of the net. I see it happening. It has been happening every single game this season. So it will happen again for sure. But I'm still certain that we'll come off with a win. As far as with Bruno, once again, look, I think since he's come in, he's always when he came in, he had probably one of the biggest impacts any signing has had post Sir Alex, and with the kind of numbers he's still put up, I think it is very difficult for a player who is going through a bad run of form and he's still able to come up with goals and assists. Like even in his bad seasons, he still comes up with 25 to 28 goal contributions as a midfielder. So he is a very gifted player. He's very talented. He's very very creative. Creates a lot of chances for us. I just want him to be a bit more, I would say, disciplined on the pitch because whenever things are not going our way, and like if we get like 6 to 7 chances and we are not able to convert, and the first half ends up, and you can just see that frustration on his face in the second half, and that's when you see him over trying. That's when you see those sort of passes where we give away the ball a lot. So if he can just incorporate that discipline into his game, he's going to prove even more deadlier than he already is. And when we actually see him playing in near the box as a 10, he's probably one of the best midfielders around who acts as the 10. And once again, for me, he's still one of the best signings that we made, Sir Alex. Like, if we had to rank the signings that we made, Bruno's number one for me.
I feel like we could do a dissertation on Bruno Fernandes, and we've
Yeah.
watched him that much and studied his game and got like honestly, I do love him. I love him what he's done for the club. I think you can never ever question his commitment, but he does have his flaws, and I like most human beings they do as well. So, what was your score prediction though? Would you say 2-1?
Yeah.
2-1 United. So that is yours. I don't know what I want to go with, because mine was going to be similar, but then I don't want to be.
Positive.
No, I want to be positive, but I'm like, I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because I agree. I just feel like we could
go with a barn burner.
Yeah, look, it's Ruud's last game. I do think the atmosphere is going to be mega. I don't rate Leicester as a team. They do concede, but they also do score. So I think 3-1 is a fair.
Just get Ruud on in the final minutes to score.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Player manager. I don't know if he's registered himself in time, but why not? I think Ahmad, with the goals he scored against Pau, could look promising for a goal or an assist. Likewise with Bruno or even Casemiro, I'd chuck in there as well. judging based off them. But yeah, anyone else got some score predictions they want to chuck out there or something to keep an eye out for in the game? Anything that you're worried about at all? We've got Amy Rourke just joining the chat. Nice to see you, who is a Real Red Ultra member. If you want to become a member, click the join button next to the notification bell. You get a little Real Red Ultra badge next to your name, chance to use emojis and all that kind of good stuff, and just help support the channel in general. Neil DeScroll saying 3-1 United. Yeah, people feel positive about that. Amy Rock saying, good morning, all you Red Devils. It's match day. We're going to beat the Foxes 4-1. Yeah, everyone on the same vibe here, which is nice to see. Positivity. Yeah. Don't forget, we are going to be live after the game as well. I think me, Sam, and Chivy are doing the post-match review. So hopefully we can be in glory. Not glory, what's the word I'm looking for? We can be in awe of Ruud and what he's done so far, and celebrating a victory and discussing nice things rather than going 1-0 up at Old Trafford, and then going down to complete capitulation and Sneeze Cooper's walking out the stadium smiling. I do not want that to happen, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, we're going to go watch the game. We'll be live after. Hopefully we'll see you guys there. Enjoy it yourselves, and me and Shreyas will see you in the next